Hello and welcome to the weekend review for the week ending November the 3rd, 2017. And this is a review of the 220 EMA Upside Breakout system, which I talked about in a webinar, which I'll give you the link to very shortly. And a quick disclaimer, I'm not an investment advisor, I'm not recommending any stocks. Backtesting has limitations and all trading involves risk. You need to do your own due diligence. So if you missed the webinar on the 220 EMA Upside Breakout system, you can take the replay at this link. So edgeracer.com/details.aspx?CTX equals 220 EMA webinar. Highly recommend watching that. The system isn't as straightforward as it sounds. It's not a 220 cross, and you'll find out more about the exact entry rules and the exact exit rules in that webinar. So let's go ahead and get started with this weekend review. I've run the report already. If you want to find out how to run the report, that is all in the webinar. And you can also look at some of the previous week's reviews where I talk about that. So having run the report, and I always run this on my list of stocks that have weekly options available, and it always comes up sorted in terms of the stock that currently has the highest gain with the strategy. And this week that happens to be Cree. So I'm just going to take a quick rundown through the list of these stocks, and we can see if you look at the bottom area of the chart, that is an indication when the blue line goes to a 1 value. That's an indication that the entry signal occurred on that bar, not necessarily at the open or the close of that bar, somewhere in the middle, depending on the level of the buy alert. So buy alert is when you have 2 bars completely above the 20 EMA, and then the buy alert is 10 cents above the highest of those 2 bars. So the entry in this case would have been around about 25.22, and this actually will tell you on the report where the exact entry was. It was 25.25. So I was eyeballing it over here at 25.22, but the actual entry was 25.25. So currently this has been in a trade for 30 days. This is a trend trading system. Because we're looking at end of day data, the exit for next day, the exit stop is 32.41, which is the value of the 20 EMA. Now, if I was looking at this intraday and I had intraday data, then I would look at the intraday long exit stop, which is the prior day. So that would be, in this case, 32.23. So the system you're able to set stops in with your trading platform, automatic stops, and it will automatically take you out. So those levels are known before you start the trading day. That's one of the big advantages of this particular system. Okay, so moving on, let's move down the list, and we'll just take a look at some of the charts. So remember, Cree is the top of the list so far with a 35% gain in the strategy so far. And as we come down, you've got Square. It started its run back down here, but it did trigger an exit. It just tagged the 20 EMA down here, but it also re-entered based on this signal here. So it's been in this re-entry part of the trade for 26 bars, and it's currently at 28% gain. Align Technology has been in this trade all the way from this date down here, 10/6. So that's been in a trade for 21 days. Again, this has been in and out in this run-up, and always gets out when it tags this 20 EMA, but can get back in, and it's at 28%. So these are some of the good ones. Had a good day on Friday, Align did, and looks to potentially be pushing higher, but of course you never know. Anything can happen, and that's why the system has really strict rules about when to get in and get out. So just go down through the list, and we see some of these really nice trades that have been picked out by the trading system. And Texas also had a great day on Friday, is now at highs, and this run up has been very consistent, so that's quite a nice trade right there. So we can come down through that list. You can see Sony. Sony actually got you into the trade based on the signal of these 2 bars, would have got you in at about 38.02. Let's see what the level was that the entry was over here, 38.08, and then just a few days later it had this big gap up in the morning, so it's currently at 17% or nearly 18% gain. So some really nice moves in this strategy. And the beauty of this report that's produced from the Edge Rater template is that you can run this every day and you can see exactly the stocks that are doing well in the strategy. You can see the stocks that have just made entries into the strategy today, and you can see the stocks that have exited for the day or for whatever period of time you want. So let's quickly take a look at what's entered on Friday. So today will always be the last bar, and last bar was Friday. So there's been a few that entered on Friday. So let's take a look at some of these. These are entries that were triggered. And if we go over to the current open trade, this will actually tell us how well the trade is doing since Friday, since the entry level on Friday. So some of them are up a bit, some of them are down, well, a couple of them are down a bit. But of course they've not moved very far because they've only been in trade for 1 day. We'll go down through the list of trades that entered on Friday. So you have LNG, and let's look at a little bit more of a chart here. See if you like how that looks. Las Vegas Sands also entered on Friday. Suncor Energy entered on Friday. Groupon entered on Friday. Costco, Tata Motors, Occidental Petroleum, LYB, and XLU, and the last one was HIMX entered on Friday. Now it's useful to look at the charts here because you can take a look back at the history, and you can see whenever this blue line was at a 1 value, that's when it was part of this strategy. And so you can see the stocks that get stopped out a lot, and this appears to be one because it's always getting in and getting out, so it doesn't really behave well as far as this strategy is concerned with the levels and the parameters that are configured in. So you can do things like that and look back and say, well, it's not really meeting my criteria. I'm trying to stay in for a longer period of time, so I really want things that have shown that they can run and stay in for a longer period of time. You could do something like that. So this might be an example. So back down here, it was in a trade for quite a number of days, made a nice gain. Also did another one down here, nice gain, and potentially setting up again. Of course, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, and so you have to just have your risks already set and configured and be comfortable with what you're trading. Okay, so that's what entered today. What I always like to do is see what exited during the week. So I can go to prior trade. Obviously, if it's exited a trade, it's not in a current open trade, but it was in a trade previously, and I can always do a filter here by exit date. I'll just take off all of the dates except for the last week. So that would have been November 3rd, 2nd, 1st, and October 31st and 30th. So here's all the trades that exited last week, and I'll sort them by gains. And so Coors exited because it hit the 20 EMA, but it was a really nice trade and had a 31% overall gain. Dollar Tree exited and during the week, and it tagged the 20 and has gone higher. Of course, you never know what's going to happen after it tags the 20. It could come down, could go up, but the strict rules of the system are to get out when it tags the 20. So two really nice trades that exited last week. Then we have some that are still nice, but not as high gains as the prior two. So we come down through this list, and overall some quite nice gains. And then we also see the losing side of the strategy as we come down here. So we've got some losers down here. This is the biggest loser with a 6.29% loss. It was only in a trade for a very short period of time, and what happened was the entry was fired around about this level here. It went up for a couple of days, but then sold off and hit the 20 EMA. So that's a typical way that this would lose. Here's another example where the entry was fired actually quite a number of bars ago, around about this level, so 76.61. It went up, went up, but then it gapped down through the 20, and of course you can't ever get that exit price if it gaps down through there. So the system reports on what the percentage gain or loss was from the open of the following day. So that would have been down here at 72.43, so, or roundabout roughly. On the worksheet, you can see that was actually 72.38, and the entry was at 76.60, but an overall loss of 5.51%. Would have been frustrating because this trade would have been a winning trade for quite some time, and then Friday was just a bad day. But potentially that was an earnings play, and if you were watching the market and you knew earnings were coming up, you might decide you don't want to hold over earnings, so you can do things like that. As I've said many times, this is a bare bones trading system. You can add your own flavor to it. You can trade around earnings or not trade around earnings, and decide on your own entries and exits and cherry pick the ones that you like the look of. So let's find out whether all of the trades that exited last week ended up being, if you had them all together, was it a winning set of trades or a losing overall set of trades? So we can see, if we just look at that list, you've got quite a number of losing trades. You don't have as many winning trades, but the winning trades are bigger. So let's find out by doing a subtotal. So I can just go to my worksheet here and just say equals subtotal, and then the amazing Excel subtotal function 9, which is add up all of the cells that I'm about to select at the range. I'm going to select this as my first entry in the range, and this is the last. I'm going to add all those up, and we have a positive number here. So if you had taken all of those trades and exited exactly at the levels that were specified by the strategy, it would have been a winning system. And this marks something like the 5th week in a row where it would have been a winning system. So, so again, pretty good results for this system. Okay, that's about it. Just wanted to give a review of the happenings in this strategy for the week. If you want to find out more about the strategy, go to the link I suggested. And if you want to run the template and produce these reports and see this on a daily basis, then just go into your EdgeRater program. And if you don't have EdgeRater, download the trial. This strategy and report is included in the trial, so you can run this on a daily basis too. So that's it for now. Have a great rest of your weekend, and see you next time. Bye for now.